Dr. Victor Jay Zuckerman of Monroe, Louisiana, passed away April 30th, 2021 in Longview, Texas, from complications of COVID-19. He was 69 years old. Vic was born March 22nd, 1952 in Trenton, New Jersey, and raised in Yardley, Pennsylvania. He is the loving son of Sandra and the late Sam Zuckerman of Warminster, Pennsylvania. He is survived by his mother, Sandra, his sister, Gail Anlick, his daughter, Katie Zuckerman, his son, Matt Zuckerman, and me, his fiancée, Judy Wagoner. Vic was raised on the East Coast, just outside of Philadelphia. He attended Pennsbury High School, where he was student body president, a soccer enthusiast, and an all-state swimmer. Following high school in 1970, he received a swimming scholarship to Franklin and Marshall College, a private liberal arts school in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where he graduated with honors. He then began a master's program in Biochemical Genetics at Villanova University in Villanova, Pennsylvania. But that training was cut short when he was accepted to medical school at the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. After becoming a physician, he began his Pediatric Residency as well as a Pediatric Critical Care Fellowship at Rush University in Chicago. His critical care training enabled him to treat the sickest of all children. In 1986, he formed Stratford Pediatrics in Bloomingdale, a Chicago suburb, where he practiced for 24 years, treating more than 20,000 patients. He loved his patients as well as his employees, and they loved him. In Latin, the word doctor means teacher, and that's something Vic loved to do. In his early years as an intern, he was featured in a newspaper article which showed him teaching first-grade students in a Chicago elementary school about health care and hospitals, and demonstrating the use of instruments and protective wear used by doctors and nurses. Vic was a free spirit and adventurous. He loved to go anywhere, and he did. He traveled the world, visiting many islands and countries, including Israel, Jamaica, and Costa Rica. Wherever he went, he had a great time. Vic eventually married and had 2 children, Matt and Katie. He loved and adored those children and focused all of his spare time to them, attending most of their extracurricular activities and sporting events and taking them on wonderful vacations. One family tradition was lunch every Sunday at Portillo's, an extremely popular hot dog restaurant in Chicago, and then an afternoon movie. Vic loved movies and, in fact, enrolled in film school in downtown Chicago, where he attended weekly classes on his day off. He and the children also loved going to the shore in Atlantic City, where his parents, Sam and Sonny, had a condo on the beach. His sister Gail and husband Danny and their 3 daughters would join them. He loved the sand, the sun, and the water, saying it invigorated him. Many great memories were made there year after year. One of his favorite memories was when he took his son to the Field of Dreams in 2005 in Dyersville, Iowa. It is the same baseball field featured in the popular movie The Field of Dreams. Both brought back a souvenir baseball displayed in a special encasement, which Vic always kept on his desk. One of his proudest moments was when his first grandchild was born. Vic got the call that Andy, Matt's wife, was in labor and the baby was on the way. So he took the first flight to Chicago to be by his son's side when little Connor was born. And a few years later, another grandson, Asher, was also welcomed into the family. This is a picture of 4 generations of Zuckerman men. In 2012, Matt decided to follow in his father's footsteps by graduating medical school at the same school Vic attended. Because Vic was a physician and graduate of the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, he was able to hood his son as a graduation physician. That was one of the proudest moments of Vic's life. He was smiling ear to ear. When his beautiful daughter, Katie, turned 21 years old, Vic decided she was now old enough to visit Las Vegas, but with him as a chaperone. He sent Katie and her cousin tickets to Vegas, and he and I joined them. He was so proud of the beautiful woman she turned out to be. He treated everyone to lovely dinners and several great shows. Vic was so proud when Katie courageously moved from Chicago to Scottsdale, Arizona to attend college. Like her dad, she inherited the adventurous gene. After college, she received her cosmetology license from the Aveda Institute in Phoenix and continues to expand on that career, as well as other professional interests. Her memories of her father are so touching and memorable.
There's not much sense in loss, so I begin to make sense of all that I have gained. What a lifetime of memories that exist with you, Dad. A picture being just a little snapshot of stillness amongst the moments of great love and laughter. I'm so grateful that there are so many. Dad, you are so loved. So many of your friends have reached out to all of us with nothing but kind words and countless memories that will be cherished forever. One thing that you always taught me about with friends, you can pick your friends, you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose. Thank you for the great advice. Whether we were down in Atlantic City at the shore, walking the boardwalk, or going to magic shows, in Mexico making deals with the peddlers, in Vegas teaching me how to play at the craps table, down in Louisiana at the Crawdad Boils, or at Glen Oak eating chicken liver, I always enjoyed spending time with you. I think early on, you learned what it was like to have a daughter. An appropriate overall theme, I think back to the experience when I was in elementary school and I took you down a double black diamond in Aspen. What a hell of a ride. You with lots of bumps and bruises, but at the finish line, it was nothing but smiles and laughter and lots of head shaking. We spent many hours in the car together. Car karaoke soon became my favorite pastime. It still is today. Although none of us could sing, we pretended to by placing our middle finger to our ear. Fortunately, Matt and I were blessed with a little bit of rhythm. You, Dad. Well, at least you were always the star of the dance floor. I loved your moves. Anytime Eric Clapton, Kirk Franklin, Shania Twain come on, I think of you. I never told you, but you really are the coolest, Dad. Everyone used to say how much alike we were, and at the time I didn't see it, but as I reminisce and I look back on all of your things, I see it all so very clearly now. I'm so proud to be your daughter. I think it's only appropriate that as I finish writing this, an old school red Corvette drives past me. Keep sending me the little hints that you're around watching over. I love it so much. I'll miss you forever. Thank you for teaching me the proper pronunciation of physician and not physician, boulevard and not blivid, to always keep your pinkies out. Sundays are always for football. It's never too late for a double feature at the theater, and that it's okay to throw a ball cap on and go. I love you, Pops.
In November 2007, Vic's life as he knew it would change forever. That's when he and I met for the first time in Las Vegas. I was a TV news anchor in Monroe, Louisiana, a place Vic had never heard of, nor even thought about traveling to. On his first visit to Monroe the following month in December, I met him at the airport, but much to his surprise, I was not alone. A TV cameraman was with me. We were looking for a story that night about the chaos of holiday airline travel. So, instead of sending someone else to get the story, I offered to do it myself. As soon as he entered the airport and approached me, instead of giving him a kiss, I put a microphone to his mouth and asked him to tell me about his plane ride. The first words out of his mouth were, "Hello, Monroe, Louisiana." His surprise interview was broadcast that night on the 10 o'clock news, and he was fascinated as he watched. He loved it. For 2.5 years, we took turns traveling back and forth to Chicago and Monroe, but in the summer of 2010, Vic followed his heart, closed 2 practices in Chicago, and moved to Monroe to be with me. Moving to the South wasn't easy as far as the humid weather and mosquitoes were concerned, but this handsome city boy eventually learned to embrace Southern living, heat and all. He loved Southern food, and one of his favorite dishes was crawfish with a little Louisiana hot sauce to top it off at the famous Cormier's restaurant. He even took his mom and daughter to Cormier's when they visited to show them how it's done. They too loved it, and Vic loved having his family visit his new home in the Deep South. When Vic moved to Louisiana, he had never owned, held, or even shot a gun. He was completely green to Southern culture. He laughed at the idea of catching or killing his own meal. That is, until he tried it one evening on a duck hunt in Bayou Manchac with my son Trampus. The way Trampus explained it, the excitement and joy he expressed in their little boat was like a child's first time walking. He was so proud and believed at that moment he had become a true Southern sportsman. An interest in guns is something he really latched onto. Nothing he had ever thought of before was now not only a hobby, but a new passion. Owning a gun gave him a feeling of safety, and he learned everything he could about the operation of it, as well as safety and legal features. He loved to shop at TP Outdoors for gun and hunting paraphernalia, and was so proud to tell and show off what he bought that day, even though he knew he probably would never use it. Because of Vic's zest for life and desire to learn, and on top of his pediatric responsibilities, he became the medical director at my medical spa, which offers aesthetics and integrative medicine. Dr. Z became a diplomat in the world's largest anti-aging or integrative medicine organization, and received intensive training at such courses as bioidentical hormone replacement, platelet-rich plasma, and injectables, just to name a few. Whenever he traveled for training, I was right beside him so I could learn as well. We were a great team because we were both passionate about helping people age with quality of life. When he wasn't tending to sick children, he was helping adults learn natural and better ways to age healthy and gracefully. His patients were, and still are, so appreciative for his help in making them feel healthier and younger. Many of their comments on social media told of how he was so patient and kind, and one of the few doctors who had ever taken the time to really listen to them and find ways to improve their lives. In 2013, Vic accepted a pediatric hospitalist job in Longview, Texas. He loved Longview and all of the wonderful doctors, nurses, and staff he worked with, as well as the sick children he healed. To put that into perspective, he and I were at Louisiana Downs in Shreveport one afternoon watching and betting on the horse races. As we were deciding who might win a particular race, a man walked up to me and asked me which horse I thought would win. I was on a winning streak, and I said, well, I think number 2 is going to win. Then he asked Vic the same question, and Vic said, I'm going to go with her on number 2 because she's been pretty lucky today. So the man walked away and came back a few minutes later and handed me a $100 ticket on number 2 to win. I asked him what it was for, and he said something that I'll never forget. He said, that man beside you saved my son's life. Dr. Z asked who his child was, and he said he was the 15-year-old cowboy who had encephalitis. Vic remembered him well because he sat with him day and night to watch over him and make sure he would be okay. The father said the child was now doing great and getting ready for a rodeo that day. That's just one of the many stories very few people ever hear about the skills and sacrifices that doctors make for us every day of their lives and rarely get recognition for it. Splitting his time between Longview and Monroe, Dr. Z didn't have a lot of spare time, but when he did, some of that time was spent playing poker with a fun and exclusive group of friends in Longview who took it seriously. Poker wasn't just a hobby for Vic, it was an art, and he was good at it. Just a few years ago, he won a $10,000 entry fee into the World Poker Tournament in Las Vegas. Vic was also very athletic. Not only was he a swimmer, but an avid runner. He loved to push his body and compete in triathlons and other races when he lived in Chicago. His favorite place to run was along Lake Michigan. His last race was the one that was very special to him, the All-State Hot Chocolate Race in Chicago in 2019. He and Matt ran together in that race, which also gave him the opportunity to spend time with his son, his grandchildren, and his daughter, Katie. Vic also loved to snow ski, and he was a great skier. He was adventurous on the slopes, hitting the moguls now and then, and pushing his skills and talents to the limit. He and I planned a ski trip every year, and he taught me how to ski. Growing up in a small Louisiana town, I wasn't quite as adventurous as he was, but he was constantly teaching me to face my fears and to try new things, all the while never leaving my side to make sure I was safe. Protecting his loved ones was something he took very seriously. Dr. Victor Zuckerman pursued all that life had to offer. He was a free spirit. He worked hard, and he played hard. Then, in 2019, he had heart bypass surgery. Matt, Katie, and I were at his side when he woke up, and he loved having us there and all that attention. He recovered remarkably fast, and in just 1 week, he was sitting back at his desk, making a video to teach others who were about to have the same operation what to expect before and after such a traumatic event. He posted that video on YouTube. As I said, he loved to teach, and he loved to work. That's where he felt most comfortable, except with me. Our attraction to each other was instant and powerful. For almost 14 years, whether he was in Monroe or Longview, we never went more than 2 or 3 hours without talking to each other. Until Saturday, April 24th, 2021, the day Vic was intubated due to COVID pneumonia. 6 days later, April 30th, he unexpectedly passed away. His death was too sudden, a shock to me, his family, and all of the doctors and nurses who worked with him. His death is our loss. He gave so much to the world and never asked for anything in return. He healed the sick, saved so many lives, and gave nothing but time and love to his patients, friends, and family. He had no use for the materialistic things of this world. All he wanted was to be near his loved ones. Vic Zuckerman had a code of honesty and decency, and he lived it every single day of his life. His loss will be deeply felt for many, many years to come. In closing, I want to share a song that Vic sent to me via text exactly 5 months ago with no message attached. I never saw that text until a week after his death, while scrolling through past messages, trying to find comfort for my broken heart at 3 o'clock in the morning. After listening to the song, I knew it was his way of assuring me he would always love me and would be only a breath away to watch over me and his loved ones until we meet again. Rest in peace, sweet, precious Vic. We will always love and remember you.
Who can say for certain? Maybe you're still here. I feel you all around me. Your memory so clear. Deep in the stillness, I can hear you speak. You're still an inspiration. Can it be that you are mine forever, love? And you are watching over me from up above. Fly me up to where you are beyond the distant star. I wish upon tonight to see you smile, if only for a while to know you're there. A breath away is not far to where you gently sleeping here inside my dream. And isn't faith believing all power can't be seen? As my heart holds you just one beat away, I cherish all you gave me every day. 'Cause you are mine forever, love, watching me from above. And I